All right, Shane, this is for you. I'm not going to climb on the coach because you know what solar panels look like, and I can show you I've got 4 panels in series and then 2 sets of 4 that are paralleled. So that's how I got it coming down here, and that means I'm running about 80 volts and 20 amps. Anyway, we're coming on down here, and what I did was I didn't want to cut a hole in the top of the coach, so I just freaking ran my power cords for the solar down here, and then I cut a hole, 2 little holes right there, and those go into my power center right there. And they're still kind of jacked up. I haven't got them all prettied up yet. And then they're going all the way over there past the inverter into the charge controller. So hold on. All right, so what I have over here is the charge controller, and I have, here's my input lines going through a breaker, and that's important. You want to put a breaker in there so that you don't have to go up top and unplug your freaking solar panels or unscrew it from the inputs down here, because solar panels are always the first thing disconnected and the last thing connected. So anyway, so that's coming out there, and then I've got, this is the neutral, or the ground that's going over to the charge controller from the battery pack. And then I have, of course, they're tied together. And this is the breaker for the power side that's coming up here, tied into there. We have the main power that's coming here going into the circuit. By the way, that's the incoming from this panel to charge this up. This is the output. It's a 300 amp breaker, and it's going to this bus bar, and then it's going to the inverter. So that's, ignore this. This is for the inverter. But the way the solar is charged is they come in here, they come into the controller, and then the controller, there's the outs, go out. One comes over here to the negative, the other goes over here to the positive to charge the batteries, and you see they're on opposite batteries, so that it flows across both batteries, because if you put it on this side, then the other one's not going to get any juice. So that's how you do that. And then that breaker for safety purposes, so if something goes totally south here, it doesn't burn these batteries up. Then I have a negative bus bar, and that's what I've got the inverter tied into and the battery tied into, and I haven't tied it into but the coach's negative ground system just yet. But that's coming as soon as I get the ATS, the other ATS, which is going right over there. And then this, because those are the outputs, the 110 outputs go over there, and all of that gets tied into the coach. And then the AC power, I will be able to have AC power. I haven't solved the DC power issue, because as you know, we were discussing that because of the way the coach alternator charges and whatnot, I can't just let it, I can't let this charge the main coach batteries, because it'll overcharge it, because it's going to try to go for 15 volts, and those things are done charging at like 13.2. And then so I won't have DC. I won't be able to utilize this DC power through the DC circuits of the coach yet. So even though it's very wasteful, if I need to charge up that system, then I'm going to run the inverter, which will run through the converter charger, and I will suck the juice from this battery to recharge the coach's batteries so that DC system works. And that's just my interim solution. I will end up getting a DC to DC charger and doing all that fancy pants stuff for another video later on. Okay, so that's how that's all put up. If you want to see what's on the roof, let me know, and I'll climb up there when it gets shady and show you. Oh, here, let's see. What are we doing right now? In full sun, we are sitting at 77 volts coming in. There's no amps because The batteries are at 14.4 volts, and that's probably full charge. So these little suckers are probably full. 14.5 volts, yeah. So it's just sitting right there around its full, and I'm not using it for anything right now, so there's nothing coming out. I will be shortly though. As soon as I get that bugger, I'm going to test the whole system. So hopefully that'll be done by the end of today. Peace.